real issues. And the real issues surround the punishment, discrimination of the ordinary, hard-working, tax-paying Guyanese. And we have to recognize that if Guyana is to grow, then we have to focus on our ordinary, hard-working, tax-paying Guyanese. Thank you very much. A fundamental problem that I have with the People's Progressive Party, installed as they are, is that they're not focusing on these hard-working Guyanese. Cost of living is sky high in Guyana, and it is going up around the world. I do agree with that. But as a government, installed as they are, as a government, one would have expected that they would invest greater in the ordinary people, and they would have used the oil resource that we have now to focus on education, to focus on health delivery, to focus on agriculture, and to focus on public works. But instead, we have a cabal that focuses on friends, families, and favorites. And it's all about enriching themselves. And that is something that we have to constantly fight and fight against. My country, Guyana, is not one where they try to say one Guyana. It is not that. What we have is a one-sided Guyana. A one-sided Guyana where only people who are associated with the People's Progressive Party gets a piece of the pie. And they fail to honor the Constitution of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The Constitution is clear that anybody can associate with any political party or any organization of their choice. And when people associate themselves with that political party of their choice, that must be respected. And I stand here as a proud People's National Congress Reform member. And I have associated myself with that political party because it is the most democratic political party in my country. It is a political party that allows us to gather like this. It allows us to speak our minds. It allows us to say what we feel. But it also allows us to be respectable to each other. It allows us to respect the opinions of others, and it stands solidly on the grounds of democracy. I have said to many people before that when you compare the time we spent in office, 2015 to 2020, and you compare it to the 23 years the People's Progressive Party spent in office, 1992 to 2015, they have not done what we did for our ordinary hard-working Guyanese. They did not lift the standard of living. They did not promote social cohesion. They did not bring Guyana together. And bringing Guyana together is where our strength lies. I have said before, the introduction of infrastructure development, the introduction of quality education, the introduction of a good health care system, the introduction of focusing on agriculture. It is the PNCR that has always had that going and driving it. The PNCR was always and will always be about equity and equality for all Guyanese. And I'm proud to be associated with those groundings. I'm proud to be associated with a political party that is strong in its democracy. I say to you, do not be distracted. A lot of information is being peddled out there in an attempt to degrade the PNCR. The PNCR is strong, my brothers and sisters. We are strong. The PNCR stands firm on democracy. The PNCR has a very strong constitution, and the respect for the constitution brings us together in unity. So when you see us talking about our various aspects of our constitution, the Central Executive Committee where I sit, or the election of a leader, or the General Council and all of that, it is not and will not be aspects of division. It is aspects of unity. And the Constitution focuses on uniting this great party by respecting others' opinion. We are not the PPP, where one big lonely man alone stands and says all he has to say and nobody else can say anything. We are not that. We are diverse, and in our diversity lies our strength. In our diversity lies our strength. I don't know how many of you saw when the Amir came from, which country was it? Sorry. Qatar. You see how all of them have to wear white? Did you guys see when all of them wore the white short jacket? Well, I knew that had to be an instruction they got, because when I saw my friend Charles Ramson in a white short jacket, I knew that something was wrong there, because I know he loves to wear his suit. So I said to myself, this doesn't look right. And then I said to myself also that they believed that this gentleman would have come off the plane with his white gown, his religious wear, or his cultural wear, and they were all shocked about it. I made reference to that to say to you that at no time will the People's National Congress reform make a decision that will hamper a group of our people. We have Amerindians, we have Portuguese, we have Africans, we have Europeans, we have East Indians, we have Chinese, and we have the mixed races that is growing exponentially. And the respect that we have for each one of our group is what makes us very strong and solid. And I say that to you for you to understand that whatever distraction is coming your way from the propaganda machinery of the People's Progressive Party, hold a focus. Hold a focus. Stay in communication with your representatives. Stay in communication with myself, with the leader, with the other members of the great PNCR that you know, and united we will stand strong. Divided we will fall. United we will stand strong. Divided we will fall. It is not easy, comrades. I am going to tell you this from a personal experience now. It is not easy being a politician of my ethnicity in the People's National Congress reform. And not because I'm not accepted there, I'm accepted there wholeheartedly. But the opponents seem to believe that I was supposed to be with them. And they're concluding that based on how I look, which is very strange and weird, because I do not wish to be a part of a cabal that practice corruption in all fronts. I do not wish to be a part of a cabal that doesn't respect the other side and doesn't recognize that the resources of the country belongs to every single Guyanese. And my stance with the People's National Congress reform will remain solid as a rock because our objects and our principles are grounded to make the small man the real man. And that is how our nation will develop to benefit everyone. And everybody who from the other side wants to criticize me, I oftentimes say to them, and I will close by saying the same to you, I am not a politician to be loved by everyone. In fact, I am not a politician to be loved by anyone. I'm a politician in my dear land to serve everyone.
Give it up for Ganesh Mahipaul. Thank you. Another round of applause, everyone. Thank you. Next, we're going to have introduction for our honorable guest of honor by our Vice Chair of PNCR, Aubrey.
Thank you very much, Wendy, and good afternoon and welcome again, comrades. Thanks very much for making the effort to be here. I know you all hype and pump up. My job is very simple, to introduce someone who has, for whom there's no need for an introduction. Aubrey Norton has been a long-standing member of the People's National Congress reform. He joined the YSM, the youth arm of the party, in 1972. So he has chopped up over 51 years in the organization. He has come through the ranks. He held executive positions in the YSM, in the adult group. He held executive positions as well. He has been national candidate. He served as member of parliament. He even served as the General Secretary of the People's National Congress under the late leader, Desmond Hoy. He is very articulate. He's an academic, a very intelligent person with integrity, I must say. He has a diploma in political science. He also graduated with honors at the University of Guyana, with a bachelor's in social science, and he has a master's in foreign relations, where he graduated in England, Kent of Canterbury. So you see, he has a lot of academic qualifications. I think he is actually educated beyond his intelligence. Something we cannot say for the other side, because we have a president who I understand graduated from the University of Iceland. So that is why I wanted to point that out to you. So folks, Mr. Norton also has a wealth of experience in foreign affairs. He served in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He has over 20 years of experience there. And he is well suited. He's a fit and proper person for the position. He's a fit and proper person to be the leader of this great party of Forbes Burnham. His time has come, and we'll rally around him. Without any further ado, I want to present to you the next president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Aubrey Norton.
Thank you. Madam Chairperson, Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipaul, members of the leadership of the People's National Congress reform here in Toronto, all present, Guyanese as well as those who are not Guyanese. Your mere presence will have naturalized you. I want to say special thanks to all those who put effort into organizing this function. Apart from providing a forum for the party to speak with you, I believe it is also a momentous occasion for you to reunite, engage, and renew memories. I met some, one who I knew since we were boys, and the first thing he said to me was that, "Oh, I remember you as a fine boy." And so that's hope for memories. We are meeting at a time when our country is being advocated as the fastest growing economy in the world. And that is being said because essentially we have discovered oil. And we are happy to have discovered oil. But we are cognizant of the fact that there are many countries that discovered oil, and at the end of the process, they were worse. I believe Ghana is heading in the wrong direction. I believe that with good management of Ghana, our oil resources can serve the people of Ghana. The first commitment I want to make to you is that an APNU government in future will serve all the people of Guyana. We are deeply concerned that in Guyana today, the government allows no competition. While the government speaks about democracy, everything it does undermines democracy to the point where some people say they're gone crazy. We cannot allow what is happening in Guyana to continue. We are hurtling towards a one-party state, and that is dangerous. When a government thinks it has the right to exclude a large section of the population, then that government is not fit to govern Guyana. I want to submit that the actions of the People's Progressive Party government the actions are indicative of that of a dictatorship. In Guyana today, 71% of the contracts go to the PPP, their friends, their families, and their favorites. And that is unacceptable. Another 19% go to foreigners. And the indigenous people, the African Guyanese, and poor Indian Guyanese are all excluded from this pie. It is for that reason we have said that as a party, we will pursue a people-centered development strategy, meaning that we will put the interests of our people first, and that the policies we outline are aimed at putting resources in the hands of the majority of our people. We cannot continue to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. It is in this context we believe that the basis of development in Ghana has to be the development of our human resources. Unfortunately, the government seems not to have an interest in developing the human resource. And what points to that fact? That the government fails with increased oil revenue to increase the salaries of Guyanese workers is an indication that they do not care. That the APNU AFC in 5 years, without oil resources, was able to increase wages and salaries by 70+% indicates that we are pro-people and our people will do better under us. We are outlining a people-centered development strategy in which we say that we will ensure our children get at least 2 hot meals, that we have put in place a national transportation system to ensure our children can go to school. And we see it as critical because what the government does is identify the 1% of children that do well and celebrate it as if Guyana is doing well. Guyana can only be doing well when a large percentage of our children are matriculating, and they are. 16,000 children in our school system do grade 6 or what is called common entrance. But only 5,000 will get 5 CXC with math and English. It means in the vicinity of 10,000 children in Guyana PA are not matriculating, and that must be of concern. And that is why we say, on returning to government, we will focus on ensuring that by the time a child meets grade 3, that child can read, write, count, reason, and comprehend. That is what a school system should deliver. It doesn't matter if 2 people do best in the Caribbean and 200,000 can't matriculate, they can't go to university, they can't find a proper job. And so our focus will be on lifting the mass as it relates to education. And we believe that is critical. Because you can have the world of resources. If you don't have an educated population, you're heading for trouble. Our people-centered strategy recognizes that there are high levels of poverty. When we talk about 59% increase in GDP, I call this government a GDP government. They're always telling you about the increase in GDP, but growth is not development. Development only occurs when the benefits from that growth are meeting the people. And I submit in Guyana, it is not meeting the people. And that is a fundamental problem that we will address. We're saying that Guyana has the resources to improve the lives of our people. But because of mismanagement, because of divisiveness, because of corruption, our people are suffering. Our intention is to change that. And we believe, as we outline our people-centered development program, the people of Guyana will continue to support us, and we will be the next government in Guyana. At present, it is estimated that more than 25% of our budget goes to corruption. If you have a budget of 872 billion, and that's what they put in the budget because they came twice after for more money, and 25% of that is going to corruption, you're in deep trouble. And then Vice President Jack Dale asked, how is it we're going to finance this people-centered development strategy? I responded by saying, by cutting the 25% corruption. Because if Guyana reduces its level of corruption, it will increase the resources that can meet our people. And so I have no doubt that we will have the resources to do it. This government tells us that when they were campaigning, we will bring free education from nursery to university. We will restore university education. And when they got into government, they started saying, they never said that, it will come. But let me remind you, without oil resources, Fox Burner gave the people of Guyana free education from nursery to university. It is the People's Progressive Party that in 1994 introduced the paying of fees. We believe that the people of Guyana are entitled to free education. I say to people without fear of successful contradiction, had it not been for free education, I might not have been here. Because I know many before me who had the ability, who had the capacity, but they lack the economic resources to be able to become efficacious. And so I believe in a society characterized by high poverty, free education at every level is a right. And we will pursue. I want to bring to your attention the fact that the People's Progressive Party stopped giving law scholarships. And what did we see in that period when they stopped giving law scholarships? The children of the elite becoming lawyers, and many poor people children who had more capacity than many of them in the elite couldn't become lawyers. And then we came to power in 2015, and we returned the law scholarships, and we saw many young people of all ethnic backgrounds who did not have the economic capacity become lawyers. We believe that our scholarships should be structured to ensure every child, regardless of their ethnicity or social background, once that child has the capacity, once that child has the potential, it is the obligation of the state to ensure they get a scholarship. Many of our people in the diaspora are products of our system, and there are many experts in all fields. And that was because, even though poor, the opportunity was given to them to get higher education. And I believe we shouldn't worry as much anymore, because years ago, it was difficult to access expertise in the diaspora. One of the advantages COVID produced was virtual engagements. And I say to you that in this new technological context, you as professionals will be able to serve your country even if you are not at home, because technology permits it. We believe that one of the problems the government has is because it is a corrupt government, because it does not have a plan. It cannot live with professional competence. And so it consistently destroys the professional competence in Guyana and alienate those overseas. That cannot be. We need to restore Guyana to a meritocracy, where people get jobs based on merit, based on their ability. The government, I said at the inception, is leading us in the direction of a one-party state. No competition for contracts. They are given by the state to their friends, families, and favorites. That is an indication that you don't want a democratic society. Let me remind you that they have politicized the Guyana Police Force. The Guyana Police Force is now not only corrupt, but incompetent. I've said, if you have an acting commissioner of police who is neither certified nor qualified, then you create conditions propitious to him being controlled. And as you would have seen, they are charging people for all kinds of stupid cybercrime, and every case they have lost so far. What it points to is the politicization of the Ghana police force. Many of you would have heard President Ali making all kinds of outlandish statements. Oh, the leader of the opposition rebuffed him 8 times. I say he's a pathological liar. We had an exchange of 8 letters. That does not constitute rebuffing anybody 8 times. But with the universities you've been to, I can understand his mathematical diagram. But let me say this to you. I wrote President Irfan and said, the law says that to appoint the Chancellor and the Chief Justice, you need the agreement of the opposition leader. I wrote him saying, I agree for you to appoint the acting Chancellor and Chief Justice to their positions. He responded in very rude and absurd terms, suggested in his letter that he would do it when he wanted to do, that I, as leader of the opposition, I do not have the right to tell him what to do. But then this hypocrite turns around last week and say, but even if he engaged Norton, could call him. Who on earth will call somebody who you give an olive branch to and say, go ahead, and you respond by saying, I can't tell you when to do what. Why will I call him? And so we need to get to the bottom of these issues. I will not be calling him for anything of that sort. And like I said on television yesterday, whenever we engage outside the constitutional matters, there are some critical issues to be addressed. I have seen the PPP call for negotiations, for engagement, and then by the time we finish writing the document, they said, no, they didn't go ahead with it. They did it under Desmond. They did it under Robert Corbyn. If there were to be discussion, high on the agenda must be a clean voters list and biometrics. If we are going to have a meeting, high on the agenda will have to be the ending of discrimination in the allocation of contracts. If there is going to be any discussion, they have to end starving the councils won by the APNU of resources. I have no interest in shaking hands for shaking hands' sake. When I shake your hand, it must mean you're reasonable, you're doing the right thing, and therefore I'm disposed to extend in my hands. And like I said before, I have no intention of extending a friendly hand to anybody who oppresses our people. There are those who are making a noise and believe the only thing we should do is protest. Yes, there will be protests, but I want to say this to you. Jack Dill is pushing and pushing as hard as he wants because he wants to end up in a confrontation. And then they do what they did at Monroe. They put people in the protest and beat up Indo-Guyanese and then blame you for it. I want to say to you, as we take on this government, our battle is not with an ethnic group. It is with the wrongs of the government. And many Indo-Guyanese that are poor face, in some regard, some of the problems we face. And so I'm saying to you, as we move forward, we have to analyze their strategy. And we must not allow them to pick wars for us so that they can achieve their objective. You know, when I came this morning and the protesters there, there were a number of views on what we should do. But when I looked at them, I thought they come to get a confrontation to distract from this activity. And so I gave them a beautiful wave and made my way in. I am sympathetic to them. They would have been fed a diet of information, and so I didn't see the need for us to be in confrontation. But I want to say this to you. I have to be doing something right that I have become the target. It is the first time in the history of this country. It is the first time in the history of this country where the government goes out of its way to pick the opposition. I want to thank them for the attention. But may I say this to you? I believe we are going to pick People's Progressive Party in the next election. If you look at the local government election, in which they spend billions bribing people, the PPP has taken Guyana to a new low. It is the first election in the history of Guyana that they paid people to sign up for them. They forged people's signature. Barrow Jacqueline himself had to apologize because one of the persons who signed up for them died. So the dead person signed. And then they come telling us that we must confess our sins for rigging. Anybody who paid attention to the recount in 2020 will have noticed that every time you open boxes in the PPP strongholds, there were discrepancies. But yet they use their PR machinery to suggest somebody else is a thief. It reminds me of the famous row when I was a little boy growing up, where the two women were abusing, and the child came out and said, "Mommy, tell you what she did before she tell you what you want." You know, the People's Progressive Party has a history of illegalities in elections. But if perchance, let's assume they really don't want illegalities, tell me why you wouldn't want a clean voters list and biometrics. It means that it is you who want to rig. That's the reality. And so, the last local government elections indicated to us that we can beat the People's Progressive Party. With little or no resources, because anyhow the decision will state that whatever little resources we have, we can, how do you call it? The guy needs to say splurge, no? We can splurge. We will depend on our organization, do what you have to do, and beat them. Jack Day was going on, they're going to win London, they're going to win Georgetown, they're going to win Amsterdam. And when the results came out, he said we're making roads. I've never seen a man move a goalpost like here. The man is just a pathological liar. He can't help himself. I think his blood flows only when he lies. And that is why he's a perennial liar. But we need to pay careful attention. The people from Linden and Hay will know. This man tells the world on the same interview with Sue when the woman pointed out the corruption. He told her, I, Barry Jack, they will build Amelia's ward in Linden. Amelia's ward in Linden was done in 1969 when Barack was 5 years of age. When you can be that bare-faced, you understand what we in Guyana are doing. But I'm satisfied that we are being able to expose them to the international community. And so the international community is seeing who they are. I remind people that when I became leader of this party, the party and the major embassies in Ghana were at loggerheads. We work assiduously, inform them about the reality, keep them abreast. And I can say to you today, a lot of these embassies, etc., are seeing the PPP for who they are, a corrupt, incompetent, divisive bunch. And we must continue to work. We cherish the support we get from the diaspora. And support from the diaspora must not be only financial or focus only on financial. Your presence here is a form of support. Many here who have skills that can send information to us that we can utilize. We will welcome it. We believe with your involvement, we will succeed. I am happy that the PPP criticizes me. Oh, I lying here. I sense I didn't get a picture of me on the wall. Because when I was on the wall, I had more. So they didn't get the picture, so they didn't mention it. Well, I promise you I will stay in contact with our people. I do not believe that it is only the elite that matters in politics. You need all categories of people. I want to reassure you that we are not against the private sector. We believe there is a role for business in Guyana, but we do live in a real world. There are some sections in the private sector that are pro-PPP and do not see the interest of the people of Guyana, and therefore they will not be our friends. But people who are involved in genuine business, want to contribute to the development of Ghana, will always be our friends. It will be remiss of me if I don't comment on oil and gas. We welcome the contract. We know, like any contract, it will have strengths and weaknesses. We have said that when we come in the government, we will engage ExxonMobil. But I want to say this. For us, our main task is to ensure the people of Guyana benefit as much as they can from our oil resources. And that will be our major focus. There's little or no sense we are making a set of noise about oil and gas, and then we get the benefits and then Jack will go with it. Makes no sense. So governance becomes important. We have to ensure there is accountability. We have to ensure there is transparency. And we have to ensure we change this government, because this government has no interest in the people of Guyana. We are happy for investments. We are happy when people bring their resources to Guyana. But we will be extremely happy when all of those resources are serving our people. That is what matters first and foremost. And so I would like to say to you, with all the criticisms that are made, I have no problem. Once they can't question my integrity, I am happy. And I'm saying to you, we are going to assemble a group of people with integrity, with competence to be involved in the next elections. That is what we want. And so, I say to you, have hope. I believe that the PPP is on a course of self-destruction. I believe they themselves are alienating many people, and they hope to generate a conflict so that those people can go back to them. We must read their strategy and let it turn into a tragedy for them. That will be our approach. I want to thank you sincerely for being here. I don't want to consume your question time with my presentation. And I like to tell people at these events about school sport I went to years ago. And there was high jumping. And when the athlete jumped, the crowd roared. When he went for the second jump, the crowd roared again. And everybody knew why the crowd was roaring. And then the third jump occurred. And when the person finished jumping in turn, the others recognized that they were roaring because the pants was ripped. And so I urge you to enjoy your day and have a roaring time.
Give a great warm welcome, not welcome, hands clap to the leader. Come on, you can do better than that. That was a great presentation. We're gonna take a short break that you can get some things to eat and drink, and we'll be back at